Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to show you the PCB layout mistakes that create noise, EMI and unstable circuits, and how to avoid them with proper ground and power plane design. A solid ground plane is not just empty copper on your PCB. It is the invisible highway that your return current uses to get back home. When a signal travels through a trace, its return current wants to flow directly underneath that trace, through the closest reference plane. That gives the signal a short, low impedance path. And this is where the magic happens. A continuous ground plane reduces loop area, lowers EMI, stabilizes impedance, and improves signal integrity. Less ringing, less noise, and fewer mysterious problems during testing. But if the ground plane has gaps, slots, or random cuts, the return current is forced to take a longer path. That larger loop can turn your PCB into an antenna. So the rule is simple. For high-speed and sensitive signals, keep the ground plane solid, continuous, and close to the routing layer. A clean ground plane is one of the strongest foundations of a quiet, reliable PCB. Ground segmentation sounds smart, but in many PCB designs, it creates more problems than it solves. In the preferred example, the signal travels over one continuous ground plane. The return current flows directly beneath it. The loop area stays small, and the reference remains stable. Now look at the risky case. The ground plane is split into islands. The signal trace still crosses the board, but the return current cannot flow naturally underneath it anymore. It has to detour around the gap. That detour increases loop area, raises impedance, and can create EMI, noise, and signal integrity issues. This is why you should not split ground casually. Segment ground only when there is a real reason, such as safety isolation or a very specific current control requirement. Most of the time, good component placement, clean routing, filtering, and decoupling are better than cutting the ground plane. One solid ground plane should always be your default choice. This is one of the most common high-speed PCB mistakes, routing a critical signal across a split in the reference plane. At first glance, the trace looks fine. It goes from one chip to another. But underneath the trace, the return current has a problem. The return current cannot cross the gap directly, so it detours around the split, creating a much larger loop. And a larger loop means higher inductance, more radiation, more common mode noise, and a higher chance of reflections, ringing, and timing errors. In the good example, the signal stays over a continuous reference plane. The return path stays directly below the trace, the loop stays small, and the signal stays cleaner. For high-speed signals, the trace and its return path are a pair. You cannot design one and ignore the other. So before routing, always ask, what is underneath this trace? If the answer is a split, a slot, or a void, reroute it. Ground stitching vias are small details that can make a big difference. They connect ground copper from one layer to another, creating a stronger and lower impedance ground network. When a signal changes layers, or when the return path might be interrupted, nearby ground stitching vias give the return current a clean way to follow the signal. That means smaller loop area, less ground noise, and better EMI behavior. Via fences are another powerful technique. By placing a row of ground vias along an edge, around a sensitive circuit, or near a noisy region, you can help contain electric fields and reduce unwanted radiation. Think of a via fence like an electromagnetic guardrail, but do not use stitching vias randomly. Place them where they support return current, shielding, connectors, board edges, and high-speed transitions. A well-stitched ground system makes the PCB quieter, more predictable, and more robust. In mixed signal PCB design, the goal is not to chop the ground plane into pieces. The goal is smart partitioning. Keep analog circuits together. Keep digital circuits together. Place converters, like ADCs or DACs, at the boundary between the two sections. This keeps sensitive analog signals local, and keeps noisy digital clocks and switching currents away from them. But notice the key point. The ground plane remains continuous. Instead of cutting the ground, we control current paths through placement, routing discipline, filtering, and local decoupling. The analog return currents stay mostly in the analog area because the analog traces are kept local. The digital return currents stay mostly in the digital area because the digital routing is organized. This is much cleaner than creating random ground islands. So for mixed signal boards, remember this rule. Partition the layout, not the ground plane. Good floor planning beats ground cutting almost every time. A power plane is not just a big copper port that carries voltage. It is part of your power delivery network, and its job is to deliver current with low impedance, low voltage drop, and low noise. In this layout, the regulator feeds the power plane, and the plane distributes current to multiple ICs. The return current flows back through the ground plane, creating a controlled current loop. When power and ground planes are close together, the loop inductance becomes smaller. That improves transient response and helps keep the supply voltage stable when ICs suddenly demand current. Wide copper, short current paths, and strong connections to decoupling capacitors all matter. Thin traces used for high current delivery can create voltage drop, heating, and noise problems. So design the power path like a real current path, not just a net name in your schematic. A strong power plane means better voltage stability, cleaner switching behavior, and fewer power integrity surprises. Power plane splits are useful, but only when they are truly needed. Different voltage domains like 1 volt core, 1.8 volts, 3.3 volts, and noisy switching supplies may need separate power regions. But here is the important part. Separating power does not mean splitting the ground. The ground plane should remain continuous whenever possible, because it is the common return reference for the whole board. Power regions should be planned around current flow. Clean supplies should stay away from noisy supplies. Switching regulators and motor power pads should be isolated carefully, with filters, ferrite beads, or local regulation when needed. Also, avoid routing critical signals across power plane splits unless the reference path is properly controlled. The split is not just a shape in copper, it changes how current flows. So before drawing power regions, ask, where does the current go and how does it return? Good power splitting is current planning, not decoration. A decoupling capacitor only works well if the layout lets it work. In the good layout, the capacitor is placed close to the IC power pin. The connection is short, the vias are nearby, and the high-frequency current loop is small. That small loop means lower inductance, lower noise, better voltage stability, and better performance. Now look at the poor layout. The capacitor is farther away, the current path is longer, and the loop area becomes much larger. Even if the capacitor value is correct, the layout makes it less effective. At high frequencies, the capacitor is not just a component. It is part of a physical loop formed by the power pin, the capacitor, the power plane, the ground plane, and the vias. So the rule is simple. Place decoupling capacitors close to the power pins, use short and wide connections, and keep the power to ground loop tight. Decoupling is not only about value, it is about geometry. Your PCB stack-up controls much more than layer count. It affects impedance, EMI, signal integrity, and power integrity. In the preferred stack-up, high-speed signal layers are placed next to solid ground planes. That gives each critical trace a strong and continuous reference. The power plane is also placed close to a ground plane. This tight coupling reduces loop inductance and improves power delivery. Now compare that with the poor stack-up. Signals are routed far from solid references. The power plane is distant. The ground reference is fragmented. This creates larger loops, weaker return paths, more EMI, and worse signal behavior. A bad stack-up can make even clean routing perform badly. So stack-up planning must happen early, not after routing starts. Work with your PCB manufacturer, define impedance targets, place ground planes near critical signals, and keep power and ground close together whenever possible. A good stack-up gives your design a stable electromagnetic foundation. Here is the practical checklist for better ground and power plane design. Do use a solid continuous ground plane. Do keep critical traces over an uninterrupted reference. Do place decoupling capacitors close to power pins. Do pair power and ground planes for low impedance. Do use stitching vias where return path continuity matters. And do separate power domains thoughtfully. Now the avoid list is just as important. Avoid unnecessary ground splits. Avoid long return current detours. Avoid routing signals across plane voids. Avoid large decoupling loops. Avoid narrow high current bottlenecks. And avoid fragmented references for fast signals. The goal is not just to connect everything electrically. The goal is to control how current flows. Good PCB design means low impedance, short return paths, stable references, and controlled current loops. When your ground and power planes are designed correctly, the whole board becomes quieter, more reliable, and easier to debug. That is the difference between a board that simply works and a board that works well. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Please share, like, and comment below. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.